time for another 5-minute murder. Sorry, guys, I have not had access to my studio for, I don't know, a couple weeks now. So the last one I did at a convention, and so this one I wanted to do here. So I had to wait a little bit so I could get access to my studio. But here we are. Time for another 5-minute murder, and I'm gonna pick a card, and we're gonna go. So I hope you guys have had a fantastic 4th of July. It was actually my birthday. My birthday is July 4th, and so it has been quite a good birthday. Just before my birthday, my book released on July 2nd. So if you guys have not had a chance to pick that up yet, if I had a copy myself, I would show you, but I don't have one right now. But Beyond the Headlines, True Crimes, Myths, and Legends is out on Amazon. It should be coming to Barnes & Noble and Books A Million and a bunch of other local shops here real soon. So I'm waiting for them to get it up on the distributor site, but it is available on Amazon right now. If you go and purchase it on Amazon and you bring it to any of the conventions I'm at, because I got a ton of them, I will sign it for you and I'll personalize it. Just bring it with you and I'll take care of it. Hopefully by the next show that I have in Jacksonville, coming up on the 20th, I should have copies with me. So for those of you in Jacksonville, I should have some with me to sign and have ready for you guys. We'll see how that goes. But that's the plan. I should have those by then. I am still waiting for my copies, even though I am seeing people out there that are getting their paperbacks and their hardbacks, and it's super cool. I'm excited to see it out there. Currently, we have like a 4.5 rating on Amazon and on Goodreads. And we hit #1 hot new release. I'm currently sitting in #2 right now, hot new releases. And then we hit #1 bestseller in our category. So it was super cool to see that happen the first week right out of the gate. And so we'll see how it goes and continues to go as the book gets hyped up. And we have 2 more volumes coming, at least immediately. Matter of fact, I got to work on some of volume 2 today. So yeah, it'll be coming at you. Make sure you pick up a copy. All right, so we're going to pick a card, and we're going to talk about that killer. All right, of course I would pick the 1. All right, let's see. Let's shuffle this up. Even though, all right, let's see who we pull out of here. All right, this is a guy I just talked about this week. So we've got old William Bonin, one of the freeway killers. There were several that have been nicknamed the freeway killer. Bonin is one of them. He was born on January 8th, 1947, died February 23rd, 1996. An American serial killer and twice paroled sex offender who committed the rape, torture, and murder of a minimum of 21 boys and young men in a series of killings in 1979 and 1980 in Southern California. Bonin is also suspected of committing a further 15 murders, described by the prosecutor at his trial as the most arch-evil person who ever existed. Bonin was convicted of 14 of the murders linked to the freeway killer in 2 separate trials in 1982 and 1983. He spent 14 years on death row before he was executed by lethal injection at San Quentin State Prison in 1996. So William Bonin is one that we don't hear a lot about. And let me grab my tablet because I want to look up something real quick. All right. So, you know, again, he's one that we don't typically talk about a lot, which is interesting. Somebody who may have killed upwards of 30 people, we seem to not talk about because his name isn't Ted Bundy or, Gacy, Ramirez, but William Bonin is pretty prolific as well. Let's see. I want to pull up who the other freeway killers are because there's several. Well, let's see. I'm trying to think of the other freeway killer. I just did a show on him not too long ago, and it was interesting because they often get confused. But anyway, yeah, William Bonin apparently killed his first victim, they believe, is in 1979. He would lure his victims into his van under the pretense of having consensual sex. He became known as a freeway killer because most of his victims' bodies were discovered beside freeways. Pretty simple. On many occasions, he was helped by one of his 4 known accomplices. Now, remember that, because Killers the Card Game is getting ready to get an expansion. And the expansion is called The Experts and the Accomplices. So you may see one or more of these names in the next expansion. So one of them was Vernon Butts, who was listed in court as an accomplice for 12 of the murders. But he committed suicide before his trial in 1982. He had 2 trials, one in Los Angeles County and Orange County, where he operated. Let's see. And then, of course, he was executed by lethal injection in San Quentin. Let's see. How do I get all that on there? I want to see, well, let's see. Where are the other? I want to see the other. He would usually select young male hitchhikers, schoolboys, or occasionally male prostitutes as his victims. The victims aged 12 to 19 were predominantly Caucasian or Latino, slender, pale, and long-haired. He either enticed or forced them into his Ford Econoline van, where they were overpowered and had their limbs bound with a combination of handcuffs, wires, or cords. They were then sexually assaulted, extensively beaten, and tortured before typically being killed by strangulation with their own t-shirts and a tire iron. So this is another case where his van was retrofitted, where he would take off the door handles and take out the, any way for them to escape. So he would stow ligatures, knives, pliers, wire coat hangers, and other instruments in his vehicles to restrain and torture his victims. They were usually killed inside the van before their bodies were discarded around near various freeways. So he would often discard them far away from where they lived, right, where they were picked up. So he would try to, again, because of Bundy, some of that changed, but it took a long time for police departments to communicate with one another, right? So, yes, in the 70s, they realized that, oh my God, we got to start communicating with one another because these killers don't respect county lines and state lines, and, they're just killing because they kill. And so Bonin would try to bank on that, right, and take them far away from where he picked them up and discard the bodies so that it would be harder to identify the victim. So, Bonin, not a dumb guy, like many of these killers that we talk about, fairly intelligent, right? He definitely thought about it. He premeditated these murders and had some forethought on what to do so he wouldn't get caught. Of course, that's how he gets up to possibly 30 plus victims, right? Let's see. In a minimum of 12 of the murders, Bonin was assisted by his accomplices. Vernon Butts was the main one. They don't name the rest of them. Apparently, he said that he enthusiastically mentioned them as co-workers at Dependable Drive-Away. So I guess they were his drivers. They would drive him away from the crime scenes when he did stuff. Vernon Butts seems to be the one that was most involved with both the murders and the raping and all of that. He did the predominant amount of that with William Bonin. But yeah, somebody that we don't hear a lot about, that we don't talk about quite as much as some of the other killers. But it looks like, he confessed to 21 murders. They suspect 36 plus. So, and again, we'll never know. He did all this between 1968 and 1980. So he had a long time that he was out there doing it. He was actually caught less than a month before I was born. He was caught on June 11th, 1980. I was born July 4th, 1980. So he was caught just before I was born, and I came into the world. It's interesting. But there you go. Oh, the other two freeway killers, this is what I was looking for earlier, were Patrick Kearney, who I did an episode of Murder Metal Mayhem. If you want to check that out, go to Murder Metal Mayhem and check out the episode we did on Patrick Wayne Kearney. And then Randy Kraft was also known as a freeway killer, also otherwise known as the scorecard killer, old Randy Kraft. So another very intelligent guy, and honestly, so was Patrick Kearney. Kearney took a lot of steps to cover up his crimes, and then eventually got sloppy and got himself caught. But there you go, William Bonin. A little bit about, very briefly, Patrick Kearney and Randy Kraft, all of the freeway killers. So thank you guys for joining us for another 5-minute murder. A lot longer than 5 minutes, but check us out. Pick up my book on Amazon. Make sure you go and get that. Pick up our games, because those are fabulous. And we will talk to you soon. Later.
Without me, I said